had already started, so. Mhm. Body. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so we're back. As you can see, literally right where we left off in Subnautica. And today, in the background, other than my bullshit, is going to be the lore of Jujutsu Kaisen is cursed by the Senshin on YouTube. Um, we're gonna check this video out, and then well, I'm gonna be probably inserting my own bullshit in the middle, but you'll see how it goes.
Warning, maximum depth reached. Hull damage imminent.
Hull damage imminent. Whoa.
Seek
What?
fluid intake.
You mean to tell me I can't go in this thing? That's interesting. That's very interesting.
This lab she does at the end of the Shinya incident is most likely a reference to what's known as Ama no Sakate, a heavenly reverse clam found in ancient Japanese texts like the Kushiki. It is traditionally used to invoke the purpose of second divine transition. Yuji used Ama no Sakate to lure and exorcise curses at a bridge that crosses a river, which in Japanese mythology is a sacred place between our world and Tokyo Kuni, an eternal land. Yuji is of course as the events of the story progress. In mythology, it is traditional Kushi performed in this
So it looks like R2, I mean R1 and L1 help me go up and down. Also, I can't excavate in this thing.
It's communicate with the other side. Obviously, the cloud on the surface attracts the curses.
Oh, it got dark out.
Underneath is all of these possible influences and rich implications. By clapping on the bridge, Yuji acts as a bait, using this ritualistic sign to attract curses, effectively beckoning them from hiding into the world to be exorcised. In Japanese mythology, bridges are symbolic links where it is traditionally easier to manifest supernatural beings. Bridges in Jujutsu Kaisen also serve as liminal spaces, notably the Yasuhachi Bridge from Season 1, where a finger-bearer awakening caused multiple deaths and comas and other incidents. The clap marks a pivotal shift in Yushi's character. As the Shibuya instance, he no longer fights for a righteous death, but accepts his role as a cog in the machine of exorcism, using ritualistic actions to draw out and slaughter curses effectively. So, just like Amano Sakate is used to invoke a curse or signal a divine transition, Tadori uses it for both the same. His transition into his new, stronger self as his brother prophets of his almost divine ascendance and newfound strength. Should especially generalize small details that hide a plethora of meanings, inspirations, and references. Whether you think most of these are coincidental reaches or actually accurate, they are there to be found and to be interpreted as one sees fit. And this here is just a random small example.
Seek fluid
of the
intake
stuff
immediately.
of this video, where we will discuss exactly that. Not the characters, not the story, but the world building and lore of this tale. A twisted portrayal of our real world,
Computer
with
chips.
the addition of a few cursed things that fuse multiple ideas and beliefs from Buddhism and Shintoism, along with endless Japanese and other East Asian folklore and mythology. And it all starts with a very unique energy that this whole world and story is shaped around.
Vital signs stabilizing.
Cursed energy, known as Juryoku, is a powerful energy source generated by human insistence.
This is the
It
part.
is a form of
Pay
negative
attention.
energy fueled by human emotions like fear, sadness, and anger. While almost all humans produce this energy, they are divided into two groups: sorcerers who can see and control it, and regular people who simply cannot. Because regular people cannot regulate the energy they produce, it leaks out of them and gathers in specific locations. When enough of this energy accumulates, it forms a cursed spirit. These spirits often appear in places associated with suffering, such as hospitals, schools, or graveyards. However, they can also be born from the collective fear of abstract concepts. This results in imaginary cursed spirits, based on myths like the nine-tailed fox or the Mount Hana or the Yeti. There are also disaster cursed spirits, which stem from the fear of natural disasters, sicknesses, and other phenomena. Because these spirits are made of energy, they are invisible to normal people and can only be harmed by those who can wield cursed energy themselves. To combat these threats, sorcerers use various abilities known as cursed techniques. These are generally divided into two categories: personal and general. Personal techniques are unique to the individual, while general techniques are skills that any sorcerer can theoretically learn with enough practice, and the manifestation of its own negative emotions. Understanding cursed energy is very vital to understand the characters of Jujutsu Kaisen, the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, and the philosophy and themes of Jujutsu Kaisen. Techniques are innate and personal, and they tell more about the characters than anything else. So it's only natural that the source of these techniques, the source of these curses, and sorcery as a whole is by the set forth in the Jujutsu Kaisen. Cursed energy is more than just a power system. It is a spiritual weight that mirrors the Shinto concept of kegare, defilements or impurity. In Shinto, kegare isn't necessarily evil in a moral sense. It is a natural state of stagnation and defilement that occurs through contact with the death, disease, or intense negative emotion. Similarly, cursed energy is the sentiment left behind by the common fiction of human life. The term kegare can also be interpreted as ke-kare, meaning the withering of vitality. In the world of Shujutsu, when cursed energy pools and ferments, it creates curses, entities that represent the withering of the world's natural healthy flow. Shinto emphasizes rituals like Harai and Misogi to wash away these impurities, and in Jujutsu Kaisen, the act of exorcism is a literal purification rites, stripping away the accumulated grime of human fear to restore a temporary, fragile balance to the ecosystem. Japan is the heart of cursed energy, while the rest of the world feels almost spiritually empty. Japan is a dense, high-pressure ecosystem where power controls faster than anywhere else. As the story tells us, the people here are the only ones truly capable of mastering this energy through Tengen. It is like a biological bond, a spiritual bond. The land and the people share a single pulse because of the barriers. For centuries, the ecosystem tried to balance itself, but it was held back by the old ways. The major clans acted like a dam on a river, hugging techniques and crushing the weak. They let a disease of stagnation fester, keeping society stuck in the past, but nature always finds a way to break through. As the world grew more crowded and years became more modern, the energy pools finally overflowed. After 400 years of silence, the six eyes and the limitless returned in one person. Gojo Sato was walking massive shift in the environment, literally disrupting the balance. Suddenly, the world was flooded with new, terrifying forces, spirits that could reshape the human soul, teenagers with massive reservoirs of power from ancient bloodlines, and a vessel strong enough to hold the king of curses. Whether this was planned by a villain or just a natural reaction doesn't really matter. The ecosystem was simply pushing back to find its equilibrium. Gujo Sato broke the balance, and it is he who saw the truth. The old leaders were trying to clog the gears of a machine that had already started moving by clinging to rotting traditions and sacrificing the youth. They were fighting against a natural wave of power that couldn't be stopped. He knew the new generation would blow past the old labels of special grade. In this world of Jujutsu, everything is a trade-off. For
Definitely
every
gonna
action, there
need.
is a reaction. For every rise in power, the world scales up to meet it. If the universe is constantly trying to
Probably get some
balance itself
soccer.
with this, we have to ask,
There we go.
where does that leave the world of fate? And there is that person, and those who lurk in the dark waiting for fate to act. Those who break those chains of fate because they escape the natural laws of the system. In the universe of Jujutsu Kaisen, power is not a gift
What you
or
got?
spark
Oh,
of
thanks,
divinity.
buddy.
It is a byproduct of human
I wish I
failure
could pay
because
you.
energy functions as an internalization of psychological waste, a byproduct of
Sea monkeys are
contained
awesome now. They used to be
hatred and
little
fear
assholes,
that
but
humanity produces but cannot process. By transforming internal trauma into an external force, the story presents a grim philosophical thesis. Humanity is an architect of its own destruction, and its collective psyche is a pandemic monster. The curses that emerge from this energy are not external invaders. They are mirrors born from within. Disaster swamps, children, fire, forests represent the primal fear of a world humans have failed to respect. However, the most insidious symbol is, of course, poverty. Figures born from human to human hatred. Mighty's
what is
ability
going
to
on? Is it
reshape the soul
hailing?
is just a balance the
It
most
is. That's
it
look
transforms
at
force
that.
systems through mind.
Oh,
Of exposed psychological blueprint.
I don't know go this way.
We have a soul is to
I
have
like the
the best
this way.
to be twisted by the perception of others. To be a sorcerer is to be cursed with the sight and psychological divide between sorcerers and non-sorcerers. Masses is a metaphor for the isolation of the hyper, where sorcerers must live in a world where the air is thick with the invisible suffering of strangers. A fundamental philosophical drift. To those who see the truth of filth have a duty to protect those who produce it. It is a question that drives the descendants of whose philosophy shifted from protection to genocide. A psychological breaking point, the sound of clapping presents the realization that the masses are often grateful for the violence that keeps them safe. Yet to remain the source of any curses that can source. It's a cynical view of a social contract. The elites, eager being the sorcerers, are consumed by the collective psychic exhaust of a society that doesn't even know they exist. Going further, the system of innate techniques suggests a deterministic psychology. In this world, your soul, or technique, is divided and decided at birth. The struggle between fate and free will is born from this philosophy. A character like Gojo Satoru, whose power is on war, is simultaneously the most isolated person on earth. His infinity is a physical manifestation of his psychological state, even its intangibility, and therefore he can never truly connect. Heavenly restrictions are another application of this very idea. He stripped of cursed techniques and energy, and he isolated from the system and society, while giving his instincts, or traded simple health and ability to walk under the sun in exchange for massive volumes of cursed energy. So much of it did not come from positivity, but upon the concept of binding vows and remaining expansions illustrates how to expand the domain is to force one's inner psychological landscape into the objective form. It is the ultimate act of resistance, a declaration that my internal reality is more real than yours. In cursed energy, strongest individuals are those with the most immediate, uncompromising sense of self, often more than psychopath. Ultimately, cursed energy serves as a commentary on. It's just that as long as humans possess the capacity for complex emotions, they will continue to populate the world with shadows. The Jujutsu is not a solution to the condition, but a respect for abilities, attempts to manage the inevitable moment being alive.
Try Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
Okay.
When you have everything you need to get stronger, just around the corner, you can give everything you've got. Just give me a second. With over 2,800 locations, there's always a Planet Fitness near you. Join the club today and get your first month free. Just $1 down, $15 a month. No commitment. Deal ends Friday, February 13th.
See what you got.
Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
Switch to TurboTax. And file your own taxes free in the app if you
What's
didn't file
cool
with
is
us
we
last
can
year.
get
Just
in
file with TurboTax Do It Yourself by February 28th. Download now.
refill. Well,
The 9th and final season of The Office Superfan episodes is here. Only on Peacock can you watch the complete collection.
In the ideological landscape of Jujutsu Kaisen, Tsukuyomi and Kenjaku represent the two extreme poles of human evolution. Their debate, primarily unfolding at the end of the Shibuya incident, serves as the scene of a philosophical conflict. Should humanity be cured of its darkness, or should it be optimized to embrace its own horrific potential? Tsunoyuki's philosophy is rooted in preventative medicine. She uses cursed energy as a systemic illness and seeks a permanent cure to the human condition. Yuki believes that as long as humanity produces cursed energy, they are trapped in a cycle of generating monsters from their own suffering. Her goal is to break this cycle by either breaking away from cursed energy or adding humanity after someone like Toshi Zenin, zero energy anomaly, to make humans immune to the psychological settlement that creates curses, or alternatively, universal mastery, turning every
New
human
creature
into a
discovered.
sorcerer, since sorcerers do not leak energy and process their own negativity. This would theoretically eliminate the burden of cursed spirits. Yuki's approach is a humanitarian one. She rejects the survival of the fittest mentality, seeking a world where the weak are no longer victims of their invisible psychic exhaust. They cannot see or control. Kenjaku, on the other hand, is the architect of evolution through chaos. Kenjaku's philosophy is rooted in radical experimentation. It views cursed energy not as a burden, but as a medium for an artistic and evolutionary breakthrough that he cannot personally reach. Optimization, not elimination. Kenjaku finds his desire to remove curses boring and stagnates. He argues that humans, sorcerers, and curses are all just possibilities of what cursed energy can become. He wants to optimize this energy to see what lies beyond the current limits of the human soul. Kenjaku's philosophy is one of total detachment. He describes his world-ending plans with the whimsy of a toddler, betrayal, indifferent to whether the result is salvation for humankind or a funny face on his
Warning.
finger.
30
He
seconds
believes
of
that
oxygen
evolution
remaining.
only happens in uncontrollable chaos, a situation where the designer can no longer predict the outcome. So he designed a process for exactly that. Chaos cannot control. While Yuki seeks to narrow the human experience by removing its most toxic byproduct, Egypt seeks to expand it by forcing humanity to merge with its own toxicity.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
The idea of fear giving birth to curses is deeply rooted in Japanese folklore and Shinto philosophy. While Jujutsu Kaisen demonstrates a high-protein creative power system, the concept itself stems from Asian psychological and spiritual beliefs. Historically, yokai, supernatural spirits, were not just
Warning.
monsters,
30 seconds of oxygen
they were
remaining.
explanations for the unexplainable, giving form to meaning. The Edo period artists and storytellers believed that human anxiety surrounding the spirit world actually manifested into these creatures. If you were afraid of the dark woods, your mind created a monster to live there. Folklore suggests that many yokai are born directly from human emotions.
I guess you can just go
fear,
back.
yearning, or hate. If people stop fearing a specific spirit, that spirit is said to lose its power and eventually cease to exist. There's also the term mononoke, which you may recognize from Princess Mononoke, or even a more similar anime to Jujutsu Kaisen, simply named Mononoke. It refers to spirits that cause suffering, disease, or death. This links back to Kigare, defilement. In ancient times, it was believed that if a community's collective negative emotions, like fear of a plague or anger of an injustice, became too heavy, they would throw the woman into that would physically harm people. The most direct real-life inspiration for some curses are the Onryo, the vengeful ghosts. Japan has a historical list of the 3 vengeful spirits, such as Sugawara no Michizane, who is actually mentioned as an ancestor to Yuta Cheshike. These vengeful ghosts were historical figures who died in anger. The public's collective fear of their cursed souls was believed to cause real-life natural disasters, leading the government to build shrines to appease those spirits. In addition, Jujutsu Kaisen's disaster curses like Hanami and Dagon come from the idea of Shinto animism. In Shinto, every element of nature has a spirit. The spirit in its own wrathful, violent state, Arakuta. Because ancient people lived at the mercy of nature, their fear of a volcano erupting or a forest being angry, essentially the real-life version is that human psychology creates legends to handle fear. Jujutsu Kaisen. Being. Taking all of these inspirations and parallels into consideration, Jujutsu Kaisen leans more into the thematic implications of these curses and systems, rather than just using them as monsters or evils to antagonize. Jure, cursed spirits, are evil in human hearts. They're not merely ghosts, they are the physical sediment of human fear, stress, hatred, and unsupported the environment until it gains a life of its own. Massive shared fears give birth to the most powerful spirits. Joker, Nago, were born from humanity's ancient collective dread of volcanoes, forests, and the ocean. Alternatively, when a human dies in a state of extreme emotional turmoil, especially when they are not yet with cursed energy, they can transform into a vengeful spirits. Sorcerers are particularly dangerous if they aren't killed with the short sword. They may return as powerful curses like the legendary Subnautica Edition. Curses are entirely cursed energy. Because they lack physical flesh, they are invisible to non-sorcerers who cannot be harmed by conventional weapons like guns or blades. To kill a curse, one must use cursed energy. A fatal blow using this energy causes the spirit to turn into dust and disappear. Because they are made of energy, curses can heal wounds and regrow limbs simply by expending more cursed energy, unlike healers who must use complex reverse curse techniques. Let's go over some Finnish folklore that gave birth to some of the curses and events in Jujutsu Kaisen. The night buried
Mad
100
lithium
demons,
over
the
here. Hell
Yakyo.
yeah.
It's a well-known event in Japanese folklore. Of spirits, marches, and festivals. This was adapted as the title for Subnautica massive terrorist attack in Jujutsu Kaisen 2, when Shisaki slit the mouth of a woman. An imaginary, vengeful spirit manifested as a legend. She appears with her signature slit mouth and asks her victims to play, and she was refers to the British ghost story. Smallpox deity, a diseased, thirsty spirit, manifested from the historical and collective fear of smallpox. Its abilities such as trapping targets in outdoors and burying them under gravestones with living rituals and mortality associated with the disease. Historically, smallpox was so devastating in Japan that it was personified as a deity known as Hosogami, to be appeased rather than just a disease to be cured. There's also Hosobaba, who is closely related to the Hosogami. Hosobaba, also known as Smoke's Hag, is a Japanese yokai responsible for causing
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
with large
Oh, that's not good.
outbreak in the Oshu region of Japan during the early Bunka era.
That's awesome.
Coincided with a cumulatively fearful folklore. Rainbow Dragon is a powerful spirit used by Subnautica, inspired by traditional Japanese.
Nice. Look at all that lithium.
It possesses
Heck
the
yeah.
toughest
Got gold,
collection,
copper,
the mythical
2 copper,
while
3
Dagon's
gold,
name comes from
1 silver.
mythology and
Salt.
ancient sea deities. Its design and symbolic nature also bring possibility and possibly the specific short story. Which a special great spirit representing collective motive of approaches. Its ability to give birth to swarms and its relentless survival instincts.
Nice.
There are a couple of yokai related to women who imagine them as cockroaches or insects in general. Kanzi Mushi, Oki Mushi, Shinshu, Hakuchu. But one of the resembles is Sugamushi, often referred to as a disease. This large insect-like yokai is said to repeat the houses and creeping to homes at night to evil blood like wolves. There is also this special thing, Kanisha, which is it appears under the most control represents
Oh, damn, he was chasing me. Oh.
Thus,
Ah.
being a charismatic representation of the Paradise Shinigami used to use much like standard spirits drawing inspiration from the mythical symbols.
Ouch.
Eliminate your pizza grades with Mama Cosie's Pizza.
The #1 doctor recommended pain relief brand. Now in a fast launch.
Nope.
The General will get you a break to keep you covered. Bigger weapons looking for insurance. We'll take a break to breathe out. Yeah.
Source are non-special Death paintings. Source refers to a Japanese Buddhist art tradition of painting 9 stages of a corpse's composition used as a meditation aid to understand lives.
Fred, I'm not blaming you. but
design.
what do you mean it's gone?
These detailed scrolls
Where did
show
it
the
go?
body's transformation.
You found some
The
trouble
first
somewhere in
corpse
the deep
being
twisty bridges
broken,
and decided to jettison modules?
consumption
Yeah,
to
I had to jettison a module.
illustrating
I
the
got
greatest
free,
concepts
went back
of
for it.
universe,
It was just
and
gone.
purity.
And you think
Also,
someone stole it?
Or something. I didn't lose it, that's for sure.
Or also,
I'm careful with my tools.
I'm sure you are, but you have to admit there have been a
not
lot
only
of sea truck accidents,
but
and
also
they're rather expensive.
Wanna follow me on a few runs tomorrow? See what it's like? Conditions are way harsher than anything I ever imagined. I don't know if you could really understand it from inside your base.
That won't be necessary. Thanks for your time. I'll write it up as an accident.
Ha. Yeah, I bet you don't want to come on ride with bro. He said, you want to come with me?
Corpse still retains its recognizability as a human. Meanwhile, Kitchizu represents later stages of the process.
See, like, what's that up there? How come we didn't go up there last time? That's dumb.
Kitchizu won't utilize the supreme rot technique, a lethal power that reduces gravity decomposition until all the bones remain. While Kitchizu simply leaks corrosive blood from his second lung, SO employs more technical applications like K, which creates blood-based vectors for mobility in the flesh. And they also have the K, which plots victims from the inside out upon contact with their bloodstream. All of the siblings of blood, torso is poisonous and harmful for those who come in contact with it. Cursed wounds, death paintings, brothers in death, blood corpses, just think about their birth. Her mother was a woman with a unique genetic makeup that allowed her to conceive children with cursed spirits.
She had a scar on her head.
She was taken prisoner by Kinjaku, who was then inhabiting the body of Morikoshi-kama. For the sake of curiosity, Kinjaku forced the woman to endure 9 pregnancies and 9 forced abortions with the cursed spirits, all while mixing.
Stop right there, Altera. You're out of bounds.
I'm not with Altera.
Then your position is doubly precarious.
What do you mean?
If you're telling the truth, you're out of your mind. If you're lying, there'll be hell to pay.
Wait! Who are you?
Stay off my land.
No.
No matter how cursed that perception.
The woman in the exosuit has been traced as far as my technology will allow.
In the future, I hope you will avoid contact with the woman in the exosuit. I am among the last of a dying civilization. If you were to compromise your well-being, the species could go extinct.
What makes you think she's hostile anyway? A little grumpy maybe, but who wouldn't be, stranded out here alone?
She did not respond to my distress call. And she is well armed.
Maybe she's afraid of us.
I have no desire to find out.
Signal location uploaded to PDA.
I don't know, bro. That's an artist, man. See, large unfiltered water. Damn it. What the fuck? How do I get up here?
For the last time, I'm not cheating.
Then what's your theory? What's going on?
If you ask me, Zeta's been blinking a lot. I think it's a tell.
He does have a point there.
It's allergies.
Allergies? Oh, is something in bloom in this frozen sector?
Thermal lilies. And if you gang up on me, I swear you're all fired.
You're not even my boss.
Oh, you're also gullible. You're fighting each other. Meanwhile, look at Pavan. Just look at him.
What am I doing? I'm not doing anything.
Let's just take this to a vote. All those who think Zeta's allergies are a bad case of alienitis, say intruder.
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 Intruder. Danny?
Oh, I'm just an observer here.
I'm going to use my pass.
Is there some kind of scientist conspiracy going on here? Zeta, Sam, Danielle? You three are suddenly very aligned.
Or, like I said, Parvin is cheating.
I'm starting to wish I was cheating.
A map will come in handy. I should be able to find my way to Phi Robotics where Sam worked.
Oh, holy fuck, yes, that map is legitimately a map. I know how stupid that sounds, but I don't put nothing past games like this. You scan a map and there should be nothing. It just would be decoration. Oh my god, yeah, that's a long thing.
For the last time, I'm not cheating.
Then what's your theory? What's going on?
If you ask me, Zeta's been blinking a lot.
Fred, I'm not blaming you. But...
Jeez. These sea monkeys are gonna get me in trouble. This is the third shipment that those buggers have gotten their... I'm telling you, Sammy, you see some weird things when you spend half your day in a sea truck.
More vandalism? Was it the sea monkeys again?
I don't think so. I can't shake the feeling this planet is cursed.
There's no such thing as a curse.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's nothing. You wouldn't want to hear about it anyway. Just a huge creature frozen in ice.
What? Where?
In a cave, not far from your lab. And here's the extra weird part. As soon as I called it in, they closed off the area. Don't want anyone going in there.
But why?
Sammy, I'm no biologist, but I think there was something wrong with it. Its skin just seemed off. Alien.
An alien on planet 4546B. No.
I'm serious, Sam. Something ain't right. Wish I could show you, but I can't get back in there.
You can. But I might know how to.
Whatever you're thinking, we never had this conversation. Jenny, you wouldn't believe the adventure I'm having. It's just like when we were kids and we used to play Underwater City, only sea monsters aren't pretend, and I don't need to hide behind you when one swims by, because I'm safe in my sea truck. Safe and very, very brave. Please tell Dad for me. Thanks so much for the mustache, by the way. To be honest, I wasn't sure if it was a gag gift at first. Personal grooming is something of a challenge here, and as you know, I'm a pretty low-maintenance guy to begin with. But you'd be surprised how handy mustache wax is in an emergency. There have been some close scrapes. For a while there, someone was sabotaging my truck, and I thought I was seeing things. But my friend Sam helped me sort it out. Although, she's had some troubles of her own lately. To be honest, I get a little worried out here sometimes. But I guess that's normal, under the circumstances. Gotta expect a little risk, right?
Let's see here. I think I'm gonna call this one.
I should be happy. I have great friends and a good paycheck. Anyway, love you, Jenny, and Dad. Please find a way to tell him that he won't find embarrassing. And don't worry, I'm looking for the perfect fish to bring back as a gift. Your favorite.
Catch it. What the hell is it? is it? Table corner. Disappointed. Really.
Tower maintenance. Okay, this time the birds have really done it. I don't know what they've been eating, but it's corrosive when it comes out the other end. I'm short an element to fabricate the right cable. I've never seen someone I did that guide to the old ship. Go out there and see if I can get some more. That should fix it. Maintenance status in progress.
Surveillance status report. Sector 0 region scan. 2 active human life forms detected. Unauthorized habitat construction and vehicular activity detected. Recommendations observed for possible intervention. Oh, yeah, just drop the PDA instead. Operating full employee training. That's convenient. And it's recommended that all training be completed while tolerating test mode. Test mode is fully functional simulated version of live mode. While in test mode, all communication from the tower, including distress signals, security alerts, spy transmissions will be disabled. Initiate test mode. Insert the test overdrive module into diagnostic port as depicted in the diagram to the left. The active test mode command may be entered via terminal. Test override module has been inserted. So we're going to define override here.
Hypothermia imminent.
Okay. What do you guys think that is? look good. Also, the possibility that it's good. It's getting dark. Oh, thank God. I was saying the flashlight was a great investment. Oh, hey, look at we might be able to actually chill in here.
Cushy setup. Must belong to one of those higher-uppers. Maybe I can find clues about Sam here.
That's a good sign.
Good morning, Frostpack. Just a quick update to inform you of some key achievements and priority shifts we need you all to get behind. The Spy Pangling project was a resounding success. Please join me in congratulating Samantha IU, who is now reassigned to Outpost Zero, helping us dream of future initiatives. Congratulations are also in order for Danielle Valenti and her team at Omega Lab. The closing of Phi Robotics means important funds can be redirected to their Kara bacteria study, which has important, positive implications for the life sciences. You're all doing an exceptional job, and I don't want to promise anything, but HQ has been taking notice. Keep up the good work, and I think we can start discussing bonuses soon.
Ooh, bonuses.
Sam really got under management's skin. I didn't know she had it in her.
Take it. I want that. I want this in real life. Yes. Yay. That was weird. I didn't get blueprints for that one. Why didn't I get blueprints for... Ah. Here's the blueprints. Do we not get that? Oh, lithium. Thermal blade. Yo! Folks, this is definitely gonna make one of those when we get back. I can't wait to make one of these. We gotta make one of these too. Fox, bench. Jeremiah is good. Fred's good specifically. Jeremiah is good. Whoa, whoa. Ah, I knew it. Ah, Emmanuel's bad. The shelves. So like, it just hit me. I was like, wait, I'm in an executive's room. I'm about to absolutely cash out. Aquarium, let's go. See, this is what I'm talking about, bro. That's amazing. Blueprints are about to look insane. Like, look at this. Jeremiah. No, I'm sorry. Emmanuel's bed. Look at his bed. Just look. It even looks way bigger than everyone's. Executive toy. Magnetite. Oof. Oh. Hey, there we go. Yeah, I think that's everything. Oh. Service menu. Yeah. Bang. It's crazy too because like soon this game is gonna the further in this game I get, the game is gonna turn into like The Sims.
David, you'll be happy to know the Frost Pack is making excellent progress. I must say, my management style appears to be uniquely well suited to isolated planets. I miss you, of course, but I wonder if you feel it too. As great as we are together, we're almost better apart. Just look at how well Prosperina did in her last show. I'm sorry I couldn't be there to see it, but I'm sure if I'd been around, I'd only have made her nervous. Once this mission is over, I'll come home for a few good months. And then, what do you think if we look at reorganizing our expectations to facilitate longer-term separation success? I really think this could be a great model for us going forward, romantically and otherwise. Don't forget, I love you from the depths of my heart. Keep on succeeding in your projects. You know there's nothing I find more attractive.
We're not gonna talk about how weird that kind of was. Like, we just did right out the night. It's nice.
Integrating new PTA data.
Scanner room. This is Ben's habitat module can transform a small outpost into a burgeoning science and exploration station. 3D display. Oh my god. Inside of the room stores local topographical data. Yeah, fire. We almost walked past that shit too. Bird. It's cold.
Seek fluid intake.
Whoa. Those.
Vital signs stabilizing.
You're damn right it is. They are. I think we'll have to come back. It doesn't look like it's here. What I do. See what I see. Let's search the area one more time. I don't even know if this is going to be up here. I got too much stuff to die. I need to get. Oh, I'm really far, too. Yeah, we should probably get the hell off the side of this mountain. Fuck around. Really a hypothermia. Yeah, alright. We can leave. We'll come back when we find it. I'm not gonna lie, like Broham Alema said that we probably should leave old bro alone. But just because he's in my head doesn't mean he runs my life. So I think we're gonna go there visit. I love God. What should I drop? Heights. Look, gold even makes a sound when you find it. See, I don't know nothing else that makes I guess I don't even pick them up. Nope. How did I not notice that these were all? Oh my god. A literal gold mine. I don't know, I'm not dropping my sea glide, you know what I mean? Yeah. Silver, definitely not dropping. Lithium. Oh, hey, look, a pipe. See ya. Oh, my God. Fucking snow. was getting and thirsty.
Hypothermia imminent.
Lucky. Ooh, crazy. I wasn't paying attention. I forgot that it was cold. Ooh. Okay, our first fall damage, right? I've been meaning to test that out. The sound of the opening is just so, I don't know, disturbing. So I'm not gonna pick that up. Alright, we'll go back to the boot scooting buggy and then we'll go back to base. Drop all the stuff off. We actually got a lot. This was very successful. Yeah.
You do not trust Alterra.
No, neither do you.
But your sister was Alterran.
My sister was my sister. She worked for Alterra.
My people do not perceive a difference. We are what we work for.
Well, Sam wasn't. I should have guessed Alterra would find a way to clip Sam's wings, like I knew they'd do to mine. I tried to warn her, and she was stubborn, just like me. Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to be so different from her. Scrappier, faster, way less play by the rules.
Was Sam working in the best interest of Alterra?
Yes, but they definitely didn't think so.
We believe that individuals may operate in the best interest of the collective or against the best interest of the collective. There is no in-between to us.
So you always saw eye to eye on absolutely everything with your network?
No.
I sense there's more to this story.
And more to your sister's story as well.
That's fine. Change the subject. We'll come back to it later.
I have been able to sense the location of an important artifact.
Nice.
I will share its coordinates so you can look into it.
Got it.
Signal location uploaded to PDA.
Does he sound different, yeah? That's a metal salvage. Okay, yeah, it's new. Wait, what? Oh, like when we find metal salvage, we can turn it into titanium. No shit. Make sure something first. I don't think we need copper for anything else. Computer chip. Wire. Where the tables? Right here. There we go. Damn, look at all the gold we have. Okay. Oh, I should start tracking the upgrades for my to copper. Am I being droppable? Oh, the crystalline sulfate's not that important to us. I'd take copper over it right now.
Oxygen.
Be it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Where's the thermal? We didn't make that either. But we got this. This is deployable. We made almost all these except the graph trap. We don't know what that is yet still. Upgrade. Here we go. Steel. Whoa. That stuff is hard to make. We have resources to do it. Alright, boom. This is gonna be hard, but give me diamonds. Give me titanium ingot. Alright. So if we make the plus steel, we're gonna have to get glass. How much glass do we have? Oh shit, where's all our glass? Oh, whoops. Okay. I still have no clue what that is.
Adding emergency shelter blueprints to your databank. With the Builder tool, you can construct sea bases from raw materials, advising against exploring a frozen water continent without a base. No bed, no storage, no place to put a fabricator module. No fun.
Okay. So I just need the ingot and the glass for the sea truck. The depth upgrade. Oh, that's major. Okay, boom. How much quartz do we need? Just 2. Honestly. Oh, 2 quartz. Oh, we got a bunch of diamonds. How is it already at 0%? Yeah, Goofy, what the hell? Sweet. Okay. Like, where do we start? But, alright, listen, we gotta start really get rid of some of this stuff. But let's go ahead and do the upgrades. Let's go get our quartz.
Seek fluid intake.
You got quartz. Thank you, love. Okay, quartz. Quartz. There it is. Yoink. What you got? Titanium? Yep, I'll take that now. The sea monkeys are just so useful. It's crazy. Alright. So much faster. Oh, we needed 4 glass, didn't we? No, we did not. Fuck. Are you sure? Because I think we need 2 enamel glass. Oh shit, he's right. Okay, we need 2 more quartz. Yes, the grab trap cracker. Oh, that was it. The stuff. Oh, second. Where's the stupid mineral thing? Mineral detector.
Seek fluid intake immediately.
Always thirsty. I think my character has diabetes. Went right past it. Oh, that's it. Let's go. Oh, I almost forgot. I'll take that. This.
Vital signs stabilizing.
We only have 1 piece of lead. Dang it. Oh, we need lead. It's like a hard time. Use artificial gravity to attract light objects and small creatures. Copper. We just had copper. Nope, that's gold. Damn, we just used our last piece of copper. I suck for that. Okay. That's alright. We need copper and lithium. Gold. still really thirsty. I better fill up on these bladderfish real quick. Oh yeah, let's pick up where we left off from Jujutsu Kaisen, talking about curses.
The mirror held up to contemporary society. It argues that curses are not born from superstition, but from human nature itself. By placing ancient powers in a familiar, modern setting, the story emphasizes that fears once expressed through folklore are still alive, holding out into the face of the present. Let us talk about the vast and infamous Heian era. What significance does it have for the world of Jujutsu Kaisen? Why was it the golden age of sorcery in Japan? The Heian period occupies a unique place in Japanese history as an era where political authority, spiritual belief, and myth became deeply intertwined. Heian Kyo, today as Kyoto, was established as the imperial capital in 794 and remained the cultural and political hub of Japan until 1185. Although the imperial house appeared to rule only through power vested in the single Fujiwara, whose domination of court politics
Right back.
shaped the era's stability and its tensions. This dual structure of visible authority and hidden control would later become a fertile foundation for folklore, spiritual anxiety, and in modern fiction reinterpretations such as Jujutsu Kaisen. The Heian period is often remembered as the golden age of classical Japanese literature, and among its most influential works is Konjaku Monogatari Shu, anthology of tales from the past, a collection of anonymous stories centered largely on Buddhist morality and popular folklore. Many of these tales depict encounters between humans and supernatural entities, demons, tengu, shape-shifting obake, and the infamous Hyakyo, or Night Parade of 100 Demons. These stories reflect a worldview in which the boundary between human and spiritual realms was thin, unstable, and frequently breached, an atmosphere that closely mirrors the cursed world cosmology later seen in Jujutsu Kaisen. This era was also defined by the presence of the three great Onryo of Japan, the vengeful spirits, who all emerged during the Heian era, reinforcing the belief that emotions such as resentment and injustice could manifest as supernatural calamities. These figures embody the Heian fear that political injustice could give rise to monstrous spiritual consequences, a theme central to Jujutsu Kaisen, where curses are born from human negativity. The prominence of spiritual specialists during this period further cemented its association with sorcery. Onmyoji are practitioners of Onmyodo, yin and yang divination and exorcism. They held significant influence at court. Among them, Abe no Seimei stands as the most legendary, a disciple of Kamo no Yasunori. Seimei was rumored to be only half human and possessed immense supernatural talent. His rivalry with Ashia Doman and his mastery over Shikigami and curses make him an almost archetypical prototype for the sorcerers depicted in Jujutsu Kaisen. The Kamo lineage, that of his teacher in particular, survives directly into the series as one of the three great Jujutsu families, reinforcing the narrative bridge between historical myth and modern fiction. Not only that, but Amino Seimei's rival, Ashia Doman, killed him in an attempt to steal his wife, Rika, who is rumored to be a spirit herself, all to gain access to a box where Seimei kept his most sacred and powerful texts, much like Geto's attempt at securing Rika as a weapon in Jujutsu Kaisen. Doman hid Seimei's head under a bridge called Gojo that crosses a river called Kamo. Abe no Seimei and Ashia Doman existed in the Heian era, strengthening the real-life history that fueled the fictional spiritual resonance for Jujutsu Kaisen's lore. Another intriguing linguistic and symbolic overlap emerges in the name Sukuna. While Ryomen Sukuna originates from much earlier mythology recorded in the Nihon Shoki, dating back to the 4th century, Jujutsu Kaisen places Sukuna's peak of power firmly in the Heian era. The similarity between Sukuna and the title Sukune, an honorific associated with court nobles such as Abe no Sukune Seimei, suggesting intentional thematic overlap. Though Sukuna does not historically belong to the Heian era, the series repositioned him there
You guys
to
like
embody
grapes?
the era's chaotic concentration of cursed energy, powerful sorcerers, and
No, listen.
spiritual extremity.
If you've ever watched the Chappelle Show,
Is repeatedly
you know
described as
exactly
the
what I'm talking
golden
about.
age of Jujutsu, a time where sorcerers and curses alike were at their most powerful.
Dave
A
Chappelle
portrayal that draws directly from the historical Heian
was talking about.
and
Actually, no, it was
executes
Charlie
analytical
Murphy
manipulation,
that was talking about
malicious
playing
anxiety,
basketball with Prince.
vengeful spirits, and elite practitioners of esoteric arts. A stylistic blend of historical figures, folklore, and
But I
mythology.
digress.
The series transformed the Heian era into a symbolic postcard where humanity's darkest emotions and greatest spiritual talents collide. The result is a setting that feels both mythically distant and uncannily alive, especially with the mystery surrounding it, and where the story does not focus on looking back into it, but rather reflecting the present, anchoring Jujutsu Kaisen's modern battles in a past where curses not merely appeared but almost the world, where sorcery was not a secret practice like it is now, but what shaped the reality and politics of the time. Enough of the past now, but the present also holds another golden age of sorcery. The calling game is a lethal
Warning. Maximum depth reached. Hull damage imminent.
To generate massive amounts of cursed energy by forcing 1,000 sorcerers of modern and ancient to kill one another. This energy is used to raise the population of Japan with the immortal meaning Tengen, forcing the revolution into a single chaotic entity. The game takes place across 10 very closed colonies. Players must declare participation within 19 days or face constant removal, which is effectively a death sentence. The calling is sports, 5 for sorcerers and 1 for non-sorcerers, which can be used to add rules to the game. Kodoku or Wu, Chinese is an ancient
I'd participate.
Japanese folklore that serves as the blueprint for
Calling game?
insects or animals.
Because, like, bro, there are curses in the calling games too. Like, you could literally rack up points. Like, sure, you get more points for killing sorcerers, but there are more curses than there are sorcerers. So,
or a deadly poison.
they just fucking did it.
Logical and artistic symbolism, highlighting official ritual. The color game is described to convey humans to the other side. In Buddhism, this refers to Iga, the shore of enlightenment. Kinjaku subverts this. Instead of individual spiritual peace, this other side is a forced evolution where individual souls merge into a single chaotic cursed entity, erasing all boundaries between people. Each of the 10 game colonies is theorized to represent one of the 10 arbitrous perfections required for enlightenment, such as ferocity, morality, wisdom. By surviving these conditions, theoretically ascend to a higher state of being. In Jujutsu Kaisen world, they grow stronger. The name of the game's interface, Mogane, translates to golden, which may symbolize the golden light to divine guidance, mockingly applied to a Shinigami that facilitates a mass death ritual. The Japanese name for the calling game, Shimitsukai, a term for abortive migration in ecology. It refers to tropical fish that are swept to cold waters by warm currents. They thrive temporarily, but eventually perish because they cannot adapt or return home. Players are like this fish, forced into the warm currents of the good game's rules and cursed energy, destined to be annihilated once the ritual current serves its purpose. The act of crossing a boundary is a recurring motif. Entering a colony is a binding vow of free will, less than 23 values of the line followed by the thin colonies act as a physical boundary that, as it moves across Japan, grips every human complete militia, symbolically turning the entire nation into a separation altar.
Oh shit.
Marshals are buyers hustle 24/7. They get you great deals on the good stuff.
After being in storage
Booking.com
for
has
so
all
long.
kinds of stays.
My connection to the network grows stronger, however slightly. I hope you will continue to search for more of these.
Right.
New technology acquired.
What? That's new tech. Oh, yeah. I can use it? Quantum locker. That's what they mean by the new technology. Huh. Dope. Oh, I go for
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Ow. Fuck off.
Oxygen.
Where is it?
Oxygen.
Almost there, sea trap. You're there. We're not gonna make it. Did I get in? Holy crap, that was clutch. One misstep. It would have been cooked.
The rope that Miguel uses is reminiscent of the Kala Sutras, or black cords, used to torment beings in one of the hells of Buddhism. It's probably also draws from the real-world African, not magic, and binding traditions, especially because Jujutsu Kaisen. Playful Cloud is a three-section staff that amplifies the user's physical strength, rather than utilizing inherent cursed techniques. It can also be used as nunchucks. The name is a reference to the nimbus cloud of Sun. That's a cloud that Wukong rides on. And much like Wukong was a rebel monkey, uses a staff that can fly to heavens and status quo, the playful cloud originally belonged to a quote-unquote monkey with no cursed energy that stood victorious over the strongest of sorcerers, and faced his death after challenging the enlightened, honored one. Toshi's rebellion is not one of virtue, but of sweat. By embracing his status as a non-sorcerer and using physical perfection, he echoes Wukong's revelation in the Celestial Palace. When Toshi faces Gojo's battle is more than a contract to claim. It is a symbolic attempt by the beast to prove that more physical reality can overcome the divine laws of infinity and cursed energy. Just like the challenge the Buddha, only to fail. It's wrong. The cloud is Toshi's strongest weapon because it amplifies accelerating events using progress, routine, and building instead. Paired with the inverted spear that allows him to bypass the effects, Toshi was truly yet demonstrated. Monkey. The prisoner Goku is heavily inspired by the real-life Buddhist monk known as Genshin, and the concept of the living self-quantification. The manga explicitly states that the prison realm is the final that remains of a monk named Genshin. Historically, he was an influential Japanese Buddhist scholar who wrote the Gojo Yoshu, a text that vividly describes the
Warning,
eight hells.
maximum depth reached. Hull damage imminent.
The series Genshin didn't just operate, its physical remains descended into a ghost object capable of sealing anything, even Gojo himself, within a pocket dimension that mirrors a meditative, inescapable state of nothingness. A small craft on the telescopes that hold the mystery of multiple human eyes, alluding to the practice of Sokushinbutsu. These monks entered the state of deep meditation while still alive, slowly dehydrating their bodies until they died in a seated position. The prison realm represents the ultimate meditation, where time does not pass, trapping the occupant in a singular window in space. Much like a mummified monk, it remains trapped in their physical form for eternity. The activation of the prison realm requires the user to open and close the gates, possibly mirroring the 4 gates of the Buddhist temples or the 4 gates of meditation, where to reach a state of total stillness, or maybe even no. In Jujutsu, this stillness is what paralyzed Gojo, revealing Kito's body for which made him relive 3 years of
That's crazy.
as he stood place, which is a condition for sealing by the realm. The concept of stillness is often scary. The sealing conditions, the symbolism of the 4 gates,
and I guarantee you that the rate of inflation doesn't match.
Truly fascinating, just like the talismans as well. Talismans known as Ofuda are based on real-world Shinto Buddhist protective charms used to seal relevant.
That's because we send all our money to Israel.
In reality, Ofuda are strips of paper, wood, or cloth inscribed with the name of a deity or a specific area. This series was set up with
that's happening.
Seals, seen in the Zen warehouse gates, Suhai's isolation prison, seals for people in captivity, etc. They're all very detailed and are designed after real historical Ofuda. Remember Abe Hussein we talked about earlier? The Gojo-like figure from the Heian era, who was the student of Kamo Oyasunori. Well, we see Norito Shikamo with the exact seal of Abe Hussein on his blood bags. Remember that one?
Warning, 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Control over to Kamo if it would do defense. The talisman on it that was sealing it is the exact symbol of Ashia Doma's seal. Abe Hussein rifle, all tied to Noriko Shikamo.
Oxygen.
Trace the connection why that is the descendant.
Imagine if I had that much trouble when I was drowning.
In Jujutsu, heads principle Buddhas are not merely
I'm not afraid to admit I got lucky.
Esoteric traditions that shape the series is one system. Just as a mudra in real life practice would not support its internal state of enlightenment. For this, a domain expansion in sound is a physical manifestation of a sorcerer's innate domain, their unique metaphysical soul scale. Within the logic of Christ energy, these hand-size function like a binding vow as a ritual catalyst for the expansion of the domain. I covered every mudra associated with every domain we've seen in Moda in the domain videos, of course. I don't like repeating myself, so we're not going to go over them again. Without getting into spoiler territory about Yuki's technique, I found some new insights regarding its name I would like to share. The term boba is the Japanese meaning for the name technique. During the famous 1974 boxing match in Zaire between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, the local crowd chanted Ali Bomai, which translates from the Lingala language as Ali, kill him.
And found out how to say killing in their language, which was Boumaier.
In Jujutsu Kaisen, the kanji for Yuki's technique reads star, rage. But the Furigana reading guide explicitly used the pronunciation as Bomba, signifying that chapter. The term is interpreted from Lingala as to mean finish him or kill him, tying directly into the powerful finishing nature of Yuki Tsukumo's attacks. And it does not end there. The name of Aoi Todo's curse technique is Boogie Boogie, and that name also shares a reference to the boxer, establishing a deliberate parallel between the mentor and the student.
It's called the Boogie Boogie. You hear of it? It goes like this.
Some of the hardest hitters in the story, a legendary duo worthy of being tied with the great
Warning, 30 seconds of
Lastly,
oxygen
let's
remaining.
go for making this the richest tale in terms of folklore and mythology in the whole manga. A great final chapter for this video. Shigeru Mikami serves as a modern reimagining of Tokusatsu Subnautica, or the intended sequel of Shinto mythology. These treasures, historical deity Ikigai, by heavenly spirits, were intended to legitimize his rule, to provide a means to pacify the land and even revive the dead. The most direct link between the manga and the myth lies in the Fu Koto, a sacred incantation. The Megami chants he is echoing the ancient ritual of shaking the treasure to manifest their divine energy, effectively turning a spiritual legend into a versatile tactical system. Each Shinigami has their own story, knowledge, and wordplay associated with their design and lore. For example, Nue, which is very unique because it is its the Nue, one of the oldest and most famous yokai in Japanese folklore. In the tale of the Heike, the Nue is described as a terrifying creature with the head of a monkey, the body of a tanuki, the limbs of a tiger, and the snake for a tail. It was a harbinger of misfortune and illness, and that mix of animal body parts is something we see with the technique as well, whether intentionally mixed by the user of the technique, or when one of them dies and the others inherit the power. Akutami's reimagining of the Nue, though, deviates from this chimera look to create a more
Quantum Walker is cool.
design. Nue resembles a large orange owl with a white skull-like mask and human-like teeth. Its primary power is the generation of purple electricity from its wings, which can stun or incapacitate enemies upon contact. Divine dogs also have the god behind them. As Kukai wandered the rugged wilderness of the Key Peninsula in search of a spiritual sanctuary, he was intercepted by a formidable red-faced hunter known as Kariba Yoshi. This hunter, who was actually a local deity in disguise, was accompanied by a black dog and a white dog that possessed an otherworldly intelligence. Sensing Kukai's divine purpose, the hunter released the two dogs to act as celestial guides, and Kukai followed them deep into the treacherous mountain terrain. By following the black and white dogs, Kukai didn't just find the location, he received a formal blessing from Shinto spirits to establish the headquarters of
Spiral Plant
Buddhism. To this day, the two dogs are honored at Koyasa as the protectors who bridged the gap between the early wilderness and the divine realm. Orochi, the great serpent, obviously pulls from the serpentine folklore of the Yamato no Orochi, a very common legend in social inspiration in anime. A legendary massive eight-headed and eight-tailed serpent in Japanese mythology, originating from texts like the Kojiki and the Nihon Shoki. If you remember from earlier part of this video, Sukuna folklore comes from the Nihon Shoki, and the Kojiki is one of the most famous works of literature from the Heian era. A really cool connection with Sukuna. Kills it immediately, and we never see it again. But it's funny that Sukuna destroys it and goes on to fight Maharada and comments on the similarity. The actual Yamato no Orochi legend. Sukuna, it is not just a legend, it's basic common knowledge. It most likely killed Yamato no Orochi. and there returns common to the surroundings.
So I did the scanner, the repair tool, the flashlight, the survival knife. Oh, the thermal knife. That's what I want.
Ghirardelli caramel squares. Makes Valentine's like better.
Hey girl, yeah.
Modifications.
At night. Remember, we just kind of give and follow the North Star of Freedom.
Listen, hear me out.
Let them hear you.
This might sound crazy, but our new neighborhood is giving to get out. Which one of us is the your face?
Turn great savings into great nights. The President's Day mattress sale is on now at Raymore Flanagan. You can also combine select sale pricing with special financing.
We need a butt ton of titanium.
You worked hard as a small business owner. All those open houses, open doors you never imagined. But when it comes to filing your taxes, you don't have to go it alone. Tap Blessing and get the expertise you need to keep opening doors.
The Mahoraga is a part of a complex class of divine entities known as the Eight Legions, representing the subterranean forces of nature and the spiritual tension between ignorance and enlightenment. In Buddhist scripture, the Mahoraga are identified as great serpents or earth spirits, unlike the Naga, which are often associated with water and weather. The Mahoraga are terrestrial, subterranean. They are traditionally depicted with human torsos, serving as heads or as giant snakes that crawl on their belly, a physical manifestation of their crooked nature. This physicality is a symbolic reflection of their spiritual history. Lore suggests that Mahoraga were once practitioners of virtue who were hindered by their stubbornness and propensity.
Calorie intake
There are
recommended.
certain forms that represent the shedding of this brokenness as they transition into the curse of the God or cosmic law. The Maharaga's role in that is further elevated.
Tail, steel, and eggs.
In this context, the entity is no longer a wild creature, but a celestial soldier tasked with guarding the medicine Buddha. This transition from a subterranean spirit to a divine general introduces the concept of Dharma Chakra, or the wheel. In the historical text, this wheel symbolizes the path to enlightenment and the movement of cosmic order. In the context of Maharana lore, the wheel signifies a state of perpetual motion and evolution, an entity that turns alongside the universe to maintain balance. Furthermore, the specific Japanese title, often attributed to this being, eight-handled sword divergent sila, links directly to the Tokusano Kanakara, the 10 sacred treasures of Japanese mythology, which in turn ties Maharana, the legendary Kusanagi sword, and the divine regalia used to pacify spirits. Maharaga wields the sword of extermination, a sword permanently enveloped in positive energy, reversing cursed energy. This sword can most likely one-shot any curse in the series. Even Suna said he would have been dead when he simply blocked an attack from it if he wasn't actually cursed. The entity is not merely a weapon of destruction, but a ritualistic force of purification. It represents the divergent nature of reality, the idea that for every action or phenomenon there is an equal and the opposite forms of adaptation. The lore of Maharaga is a study of transformation. It represents the bridge between the most earth-bound instincts, snakes, and
Damn it, not the bladder fish.
protection. In general, historically and mythologically, Maharaga serves as a reminder that even the most fearsome and crooked aspects of the world can be refined into guardians of order, provided they possess the ability to adapt and turn with the wheel.
Vital signs stabilizing.
Speaking of curses,
The way he
and
eats
that's
is
it
crazy.
for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching that video interesting, valuable insight from the tiny investments. If you wish to support the over the serious, crazy amounts of work and the research that goes into these videos, then consider becoming a patron and gain access to videos earlier, along with a bunch of other exclusive videos and analysis like this total video that I have never uploaded on the channel, plus manga read-throughs, discussions, etc. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and see you.
Guess who just got a raise? Spoiler alert. It's me, thanks to Free Tax USA. With free federal filing and super low state fees, it's like getting a bonus for doing your taxes. A wise choice today will bring rewards tomorrow. Huh. Must have heard about Free Tax USA. And because I filed early, my tax refund just became my travel fund. More money in my pocket means more stamps in my passport. Free Tax USA, the bonus you didn't see coming. Visit freetaxusa.com today, where your maximum tax refund is guaranteed.
Okay, where, alright, so what I want to do is, we need a coral shell.
This is the first scene in Jujutsu Kaisen. A blurred vision and the perspective of sleepy eyes waking up in this dimly lit room filled with talismans and cursed ropes. We meet the two most important characters of this story. In this very room, a simple decision is made, one that decides the fate of both when sat across from one another, and of Japan along with them. Ryuji's acceptance of his delayed execution in order to observe Sukuna, take him out with him, is the series' premise. It is the story's core. One presented him as an option to live his life by Gojo Satoru himself. One that sets the stage for the tragedy that happened between them. Loneliness is one of Jujutsu Kaisen's major themes. The very theme is fully embodied and explored.
From stance breaks, you never see the secret movement.
I was gonna look this up, and it's so weird that it was in my For You.
Oxygen.
Period where typical rivals of God, specifically the god Yahweh, was anything other than the devil and his satanic cadre of demonic fallen angels. But if we wind back the century, wind back the millennia even, we come to the earliest, in many ways the most dangerous rival to theological dominance of Israelite God Yahweh, the rider upon the clouds, living eater of sea and river, contender with death the youthful storm warrior. When Yahweh arrived in Canaan, Baal had long proved the most enduringly popular god of that region, and had even survived the Bronze Age collapse. And it would be Yahweh's contest with Baal that would shift the theological and mythological history of the entire world. Yahweh eventually rising to become the one and only God, and Baal demoted to mere demonic minion. But before the theological upstart Yahweh appeared, who was Baal? And how did this most popular ancient Near East deity undergo the process of demonization, now merely listed in necromancers' catalogs of infernal spirits? Let's explore the history of Baal, the first and greatest rival of Yahweh. Make sure to subscribe here to Esoterica for weekly explorations of topics in esoteric history. And if you'd like to support this work of providing evidence-backed, free, and accessible content like this episode, I hope you consider checking out my Patreon or some of the cool merch that we have on the channel. And if you're new to the study of esotericism, I've made a specific study guide just to give you the lay of the land. You can find that down below as well. And if you're interested in actual historical books on topics of the occult or magic, mysticism, alchemy, check out Esoterica Rare Books. You can find all those links in the description and in the pinned comment below. But now, let's turn to the rider upon the clouds, the lord of lightning and the master of storms, Baal. I'm Dr. Justin Sledge, and welcome to Esoterica, where we explore the arcane in history, philosophy, and religion. The history of Baal is like the history of virtually every god. Ancient, mysterious origins, migration, transformation, assimilation, theological contestation with other gods, and then often demonization, and then perhaps even extinction. By the mid-3rd century BCE, the precursor deity to Baal, variously known as Hadad, Adu, Ramanu, Thunder in Akkadian, or Ishkur in Sumerian reading, was already functioning as a kind of minor deity of springtime rains. He would be linked with Urian, Hittites, and air-storm god Teshu. However, this deity seems to have had a wide range of roles depending on the myth cycle in which this deity showed up. But any rain or storm deity was unlikely to feature prominently in specifically Mesopotamian myths, given that it was the Tigris and Euphrates rivers that primarily provided for the flourishing of those metropolis civilizations. Well, when they weren't catastrophically and randomly flooding, which also probably informed both their myths and their cultural outlook. Their distinctive pessimism compared to the melted optimism of the Egyptian culture with its very predictable time. However, as Hadad immigrated west into Canaan, perhaps around the 3rd and 8th BCE, the geographic, even meteorological situation would actually provide for his theological ascendance. The region stretching from what is now Syria in the north down through Lebanon and south into Palestine, Israel, the area that we now denote as Canaan, was not a region in which agriculture and irrigation principally relied on rivers such as the Egyptians. And rather, yearly agricultural success was highly dependent upon winter rains, which often flew in off from the Mediterranean in the form of sometimes ferocious storms.
Nice.
These storms are absolutely
Dope.
terrifying. And
yeah, we're. Wow.
Hadad, a relatively minor storm deity in Mesopotamia, had found a perfect geo-theological meteorological fit in the Canaan. And sometime between 1800 and 1500 BCE, it appears that the myths around Hadad were shifting along certain kind of direction and designation. Hadad seemed to become Baal Hadad, Lord of the Sword, which often becomes again Baal, the Lord. The term Baal is specific, meaning master, owner, and it usually denotes something like political and military power, along with ownership of land or even mastery of a certain kind of skill. The famous witch of Endor is literally the Baalat Od, the mistress of the Od. The Od was. Newlyweds are husband and wife. In Hebrew are Baal and Betula, literally Lord and Virgin, though your mileage varies. A similar term in Hebrew is Adon, was the divine name Adonai, my Lord. The founder of the Hasidic movement, Yezer, was the Baal Shem Tov, master of the name. Definitely by his shamanic use of the name. Thus, the name
That's crazy.
Baal becomes power, even domination of the land. The space of the deep Baal very even chip death. But long before Yahweh
out here, probably.
Baal
But what is that?
in a myth cycle that we now know, the Baal cycle. For millennia,
New creature discovered.
The writings of his rivals, the Israelites. However, beginning with the discovery of the Pharaoh, became all of this palace archive was very much intact. Now, this is all the very iterated long before the Bible. All cycles of history, things chapters come down are described as a equal to all certain body. Now there are three such body. All cycles either the 14th century or the late 13th century. Now, for reference, most scholars date James ascendancy for thousands. That was like compared to language the spirit of the myths themselves for a much more archaic language. Something that is about a much older, by the way, northern cousin Hebrew. And thus were probably those imagery copy that produced without described. The Baal cycle is specifically reserved on 6 tablets about the size of the book in the fragments and 7 others described on both sides in several columns denote simply a house belonging to Baal in the symbolic texts. In fact, the Baal cycle is just one of the many theological texts of Bronze Age Canaan who have been recovered since Jared, making the palace archive as the window into the religion period generally. We actually found out something about what the Canaanites believed,
it's dark.
as opposed to what the Israelites said the Canaanites believed.
Oh, yeah, I'm so glad that I didn't swim down here.
Unfortunately, the first sections of the epic are involved in ancient tablets, but or the divine
What the heck? Did I just shoot a lightning bolt at me?
For those who've read some Babylonian mythology, you'll know just why the threats unseen are so terrifying. Long before the conflict between good and evil kingdoms as well as physical tension, order and chaos were the main environment, and cosmological epics like the Babylonian Age represent just that conflict as personified by the primordial sea dragon Tiamat and the warrior Marduk. In that epic, Marduk defeats the watery forces of chaos, fashioning the world from the force of Tiamat.
No, just like that. 2 lead from sea monkeys.
Representing chaos and disorder, forces that El,
Super random.
the gods, was happy to eat.
What? Y'all seeing this?
Rock, also consorts kind of cut it out for Mahal, seeing him as a kind of upstart that would drive her own son to the power, and thus she was probably pretty happy to see him sacrifice to Yah. Mahal, in fact, doubled down, speaks the gods to their face, and rather than being swallowed into the depths, wages open war against the sea and his allies. Yes, speaking is meant to the tragedy enjoyed the river, the sea monster of Wotan, and creatures such as Leviathan, both coming from the same up, and the land.
You guys see this?
Sea.
You know what it looks like?
Metal of all the gods.
I think this is what an avocado looks like when you first plant it.
Literally adorning herself for literal body parts.
I'm gonna get a sample.
They both defeat T and his allies. In fact,
oh, it's table coral.
Special clubs, Yagrush, Amor, Chaser, and Driver, created by the divine craftsman Lars Cassis. We also stepped into the scene more confident distance. All their own doing kind of complete rampage in the countryside. It doesn't even stop until the Mahal sends her a message that Yom has been defeated and that she should come visit him.
Oh, here we go.
Well,
see, I know there's something to that. Look at that shit. That's
with the defeat
crazy.
of Bell and the Divine Council, basically have to admit that Baal is now running the show. There's a problem. The palace, and thus, practically a king. Baal dispatches a petition, threat to tell Shira to allow him to construct a palace on his mountain Psalm, on general opposition. Garrett, director of Turkey, in fact, word upon
Seek fluid intake.
Which eventually calls her to give her the palace. That and she even expresses her worry that once the palace is complete, Baal will be power as the new kingly god of the realm, and she was right, he does. This motif of youthful warrior gods usurping elderly kingly deities is a pretty common motif in the ancient Near East. We have Hittite Teshub ousting Safari, Yal eventually replacing Bel's installation, and of course Zeus defeating Kronos in Greek mythology, and as in the West has decisively shown, Greek mythology leans very heavily on its Semitic neighbors to the east. Indeed, the whole business of divine usurpation may itself reflect actual political tension as society in the late Bronze Age was basically collapsing around the proposal of death. But with begrudging consent given, Baal employs Kotar Basasis, the MVP of this whole myth, to construct the mountain palace out of blocks made of gold, silver, and lapis lazuli, stones so rare that had been imported for Afghanistan, along with planks of wood made from, guessed it, cedars of Lebanon. And all of this now very such construction. Yahweh Temple centuries later. Indeed, Solomon's Yahweh Temple was probably based on something like any other temple complexes in that region, such as those for the equalized manifestation of Baal worship. Solomon's temple is probably fashioned the Baal temple, and that shows you again that in many ways, Yahweh worship is downstream of the Baal worship.
Oh, shit.
Now, there's not many architectural concerns. Should both our houses have a window in the house? At first, Baal is reluctant, but, well, Rager and Jeff Ward in their campaign, it seems that Baal is now confident enough to allow the construction of a window. Feeling its power of protecting the topic of Baal, so powerful that it turns mountains to blood, all of the vegetation found in honor. Baal is initially so reluctant to fix that window. That was precisely through such windows that the moment of death results into prey. Perhaps we have here the pride that comes before the fall. He might be badass if you want, God, but nothing escaped from the eternal hunger
Seek fluid
of
intake
the
immediately.
fall. Death will fall. The fall uses the price must be paid for Baal's cosmic disruption given the defeat of seed and the photon. And sadly, 40% of this entire section is dead. But we do know that Baal chooses seed, perhaps in despair, perhaps wishes that maybe. But then he goes and has sex with the Emperor 77 times. The Emperor gives birth to Baal's son. The section is obscure. L is typically associated
There is a
with
large
the wall
anomalous mass of rock that has broken away and risen above the surrounding terrain.
Here, the world.
What does that mean?
In some early rare depictions of Yahweh, it's also depicted as wolf. So that'd be nothing. But the all goes down into the shadowed underworld with his spectral clouds and lightning bolts and rain. Probably pretty eager to do battle with death, but so all dies, evidenced by agricultural collapse of the living. The gods warn him by routinely gashing themselves, a practice actually attested to and forbidden by the Bible. Asherah tries to put her two sons on the throne, but fails. There are no replacements.
Ooh, it's far.
But Baal does have another weapon. The best of all weapons. Yeah, it's his sister, Anat. And boy, does she deliver. She slashes death with a sword, winnows him in the sea, burns him, buries him in the ground, in the millstones, and soaks him in the wheels. It's so poetic. She literally rewrites the world with the force of death and stone. The death somehow revives Baal. And El Nebuchadnezzar confirms death is dead. So he sends Shammah, son to Shot. Death challenge again and locked in stalemate combat round utility sun separates that it does operating a cycle and very turbulent. The final column in dramatic round representing the detente ushered in by sun between Baal and death and the
Seek fluid intake.
Damn, we're still far.
Thus, an agricultural society in which the arrival of those winter rains via thunderstorms, powerful storms coming off the Mediterranean, was the difference between plenty and famine, chaos, order, life and death. It's absolutely clear that Baal was an enduringly popular god in the region. And no doubt that the Baal cycle is the single greatest literary and religious epic recovered from the region in general. Along with the continued adoration of Baal well into the Iron Age and in various localized forms, all of this is powerful testimony to the effect that as the Baal cycle has it, Baal, our king, is the conqueror. It's the refrain of that cycle that bears his name. And from the
Vital signs stabilizing.
through the Bronze Age collapse and into the Iron Age, it seems that Baal proved endearingly popular for, again, obvious reasons. These are agricultural societies. But sometime just before 1000 BC, very late Bronze, probably very early Iron, a deity from far to the south, seeming to originate in the region of what is called Mount Seir in now southern Jordan, became the tribal god of the polity of a group called the Israelites. This deity, the one that is, or Yahweh, would spend centuries contending with, assimilating to, and differentiating itself from Baal before establishing some form of theological hegemony during the exile of the Chaldeans in the 6th century BCE. Now, I've made a whole episode on the early history of Yahweh that's very interesting to people for whatever reason, and another one on how Yahweh became the singular God for the Israelites. If you want more information on all of these specifically, I feel to check out those videos. Find links to them below. But given that both Yahweh and Baal were both warrior storm gods, one incumbent to the region and the other up and coming or fiefdom in the region, conflict was going to be inevitable. This town's not big enough. Yahweh would assimilate aspects of Baal, the archaic version of Psalm 29, that had taken by many scholars to be literally a hymn to Baal,
Seek
with
fluid
Yahweh's name
intake.
just sort of cut and pasted into that poem, especially the language and theology around storm theophanies. And yet, at the same time, the Yahwists would, given the Freudian narcissism of minor difference at work here, pitch Baal and Yahweh in prophetic combat, most famously Elijah's cycle as verse 16, which has Elijah really doing some excellent with Baal. Of course, outside of perhaps a very small group of Yahweh's partisans, common people and kings ruling over a
Vital signs
signs
stabilizing.
and needing to make alliances across theological lines were more than happy to include Baal worship right alongside Yahweh worship if honestly they could tell the difference between them. These gods are so similar that I think most Israelites and Canaanites probably couldn't tell the difference. The most infamous instance, of course, of this alliance was between Jezebel, daughter of Githo Baal, of the first of Tyr, and queen of Israel. By the way, her name, Jezebel, means where is Baal, and is a direct reference to the search for Baal by Anat and Shamash, the sun god, after his resurrection.
Wow.
Death. Further, elements of Baal's contest with the sea or Yah and its dragon Lotan are mirrored in early Israelite Yahwism, with similar contests most notably occurring in the creation story. Yep, creation story of Psalm 74, and in Job, where Yahweh defeats giant sea monsters, specifically Leviathan, as a necessary aspect of forging the world from chaos to order, again, a myth cycle common to the ancient Near East. Ironically, this defeat of Leviathan would be later transposed to a world ending apocalypse and later mutation of the myth. Further, Baal's contest with death or both is often mythologized such that Yahweh has control over both life and death, and in some passages will actually even swallow up death, an ironic vision of Yahweh's power over and against the image of, again, a gaping awe of death in the Rabbinic myth. Part of the on-ramping, something like part of the monotheism. In fact, the Israelite scribes so disdained Baal that theonymics, a form of his name, underwent taboo replacement with the Hebrew word for shame, Moshe. Thus, names like Eshbaal become Eshboshet, Meribaal becomes Meriboshet. Even the goddess Astarte becomes Ashtoreth, using the vowel pattern of the same word for shame, Boshet. The face prince Baal, Baal Zebul, famously becomes Baal Zebul, Lord of the Flies.
Beelzebub, holy shit! They're all the same people! Oh god, they're all the same guys.
Baal of the heavens. So even these theological concepts are, in some sense, parasitic on Baal as a response to him in some sense. The destruction of the more powerful and prosperous Israelite northern kingdom would lead to a refugee crisis in the Judahite south, the center of a more specifically Egyptonic form of Yahweh's demonolatry, where Baal worship had never threshold. And while Baal in various forms would continue to be worshipped, for instance, among the Phoenicians, both at home and abroad in places like Carthage, assimilated to their deity Melkart, Yahwism would become the central cult of Judea prior to the destruction of the region by the Babylonians in 586 BCE, setting the stage for something like proto-monotheism to develop, primarily over there in the Babylonian exile. But Baal himself would not completely disappear. He would enjoy a kind of half-life, but not as a divine god, but as another form of divinity. With the rise of Christianity, he became a demon. Specifically in the apocalyptic mode of Judaism, especially in contact with Zoroastrianism, the one god became attended by a host of angelic warriors over and against a force of cosmic evil, variously known as Belial, Hasatan, transformed from title to person in the form of Satan or the devil, and of course entities like Beelzebub. Indeed, by the first gospel in Mark 3, Jesus himself is accused of being possessed by and driving out demons precisely by the power of Beelzebub, there denoted as the prince of the demons. These early mentions would cement Beelzebub as a powerful demon in the minds of early Christians. He would further appear in Solomon, a key text in Western theology, as the king of all. And in that tale, Solomon binds Beelzebub in his powerful sigil ring to force the legion of demons that served him in the construction of the Jerusalem temple, a tale at the very heart of the Western tradition. Through the New Testament of Solomon, literature, folk literature, but all would survive in an eldritch manner into the Western occult tradition, primarily as the demon Bel, Beelzebub, Bob, and form. Often featured early and therefore pretty high up in the divine hierarchy, he appears in virtually every single catalog of the Middle Ages and early modern period, including famous texts like Monum, the SS3, the Orb Spiritum, and most infamously in the Galicia of the Lesser King Solomon, where it's still also. He is variously described in the literature as a soldier, force voice, with the power to make people invisible, ruling over a retinue of 66 legions of demons. In other texts, he's a kind of horrid mixture of Dato, like in the dictionary now, or
guys, look up.
In some cases, he is subject to the demonic king of the East, Orion, with his demonic legion.
Look up.
Which is 66. His power is subject to change, and of course, his
emojis
but
and symbolism.
Seventh epic Paradise Lost, the name Baal in the plural becomes Baalim, and it simply becomes the watchword for the entire world of all males.
Oh, nice. Where'd you find that?
Earth for following Satan's rebellion.
Oh, good. I could do the
graph back.
litter now. No, gotta leave it on. Go ahead and turn it off.
All the rider upon the clouds, with a figure of sea and death, of rain to sustain life. He would contend and ultimately lose theological legitimacy to the upstart Yahweh, but he also upstart yelled Yahweh. So, Hell really is the loser on this. He becomes demoted to become one of many demons, especially by Christians. By Muslims, he would become a stock of reward, powerful, yeah, but still hideous. But with the discovery of the Baal cycle in the 20th century, it's high time to balance the highly political narratives of the frankly Yahwistic propaganda that comes to Israelite literature with the very scriptures produced by the very people that historically not as some false god, mystical foreign god, much less something dreadful demon, but it gives much admired worship by people of God for very good reasons. The subject of truly epic poetry and sublime literature, poetry that was indeed so well regarded, the Israelites appropriated it to call it. Good enough for the King James Bible. It's high time that we appreciate the mythology of all terms in its own historical context and for its own sake, restoring a god of old to their rightful place in history, religion, and the best place to read the Baal cycle along with other similar Canaanite literature is Coogan and Smith's volume of Stories of Ancient God, excellent introduction, and affordable.
Oxygen.
For situating Baal in the wider mythology of the period, especially in the context of development Baalism, Vegas, Yahweh, and gods of ancient Canaan, along with the falsest myth and epic remain the classic.
Whoa, that was close.
Oxygen.
I almost died.
Of course, the Brill Edition is powered by it is hyper specialized and well Brill. Finally, if you want to learn a bit of Bucharest, the language of the file cycle, there's a really fantastic manual published in 2009 that allows you to dig into some text for translation, along with admittedly sometimes less grammar, but it's an ancient dead language, so you kind of know what you're signing up for. But pretty neat to actually be able to read already to be able to read the file cycle in the original. But until next time, thank you for watching Subnautica, where we explore the arcane industry, philosophy.
Tail end.
IHG's Holiday Inn Express. We guessed. Enjoy free breakfast. But one play. Take on Mexico City, Minneapolis. Any Holiday Inn Express destination you choose. Have a great day for their nights. All while earning points for free nights. IHG One Rewards. Holiday Inn Express, part of IHG South Resorts. You guessed. Long ago, an astrologer looked to the sky and found something called primeval current in the stars above. Then, miraculously,
Hello, my fellow concerned friends, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and
please don't make me do this. Worry, I'm stupid. Children, shoot.
Can Yuji get Gojo's power by eating the cursed realm, or will he simply choke and die? Firstly, Yuji cannot just eat any cursed object and gain its power. Yes, Sukuna's figures are special grade cursed objects.
These are not gods, and they are not angels.
With the DoorDash, you get to choose when you feel it and when you don't. Now it's, yeah. But if that's it, you can also set your schedule around your other commitments. Tell me about it. So whenever it works well for you, you're a surprise. Join our quality. Make money on your time. DoorDash. Sign up today. Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? And give me more on fold.
Wait, no, I was fun.
Sleep Number just
Can I take my side softly?
my side friend. Sleep Number does that. If I go for a missing this hunger all night, can I offer sleep under in that? Sleep Number does that.
And now our best deals are on, including 50% off our limited edition mattress, plus 0% interest for 24 months. Check it out.
Fuck off!
They are rulers without faces, parasites without mercy. They move unseen, shaping the laws of the world, tightening the cage around every soul born into flesh. They whisper doubts into the mind, hunger for fear, and delight in fitting colors. To the Gnostics, they were the wardens of existence itself. They call them the Archons, and they're still here. If you too are parasites without mercy, check out Pumpkin Apparel, our clothing brand inspired by myths, legends, and folklore. We ship worldwide and directed excellent on Trustpilot. Link in the description. The Demiurge built the cage, shaping matter into a flawless system, but blind to the true source. He believed himself a god, but his power was incomplete. To maintain his rule, he created enforcers, rulers who would guard the heavens and bind humanity in ignorance.
Warning.
If you want
30
to know more
seconds
on
of
the Demiurge
oxygen
himself,
remaining.
I've covered him in another video. This story belongs to his wardens. They're called the Archons, and the name alone tells you everything. It comes from the Greek archon, ruler, authority, governor. But they don't rule through worship, nor do they need temples or prayers. The Archons rule through law, structure, control, and they do it so silently. Most of us never even realize we're being ruled. In Gnostic cosmology, the Archons were jailers. They were born from error, the fallout of a mistake that should never have happened. They serve the Demiurge, yes, but they are not his angels. They are his bureaucracy, his enforcers, his personal machine, operating with instinct, light truth, hostile for freedom, obsessed with order. The ancient texts found at the Nag Hammadi describe him in terrifying detail. Their leader, Yaldabaoth, another name for the Demiurge, bears the face of a lion and the body of a serpent, a form that combines predatory power with cold, reptilian instinct. His Archons followed suit, not beautiful, not divine, but monstrous. A donkey-headed judge, a seven-headed serpent, a baboon with a crown. These are the masks of imitation, symbols of creation worn by those who cannot truly create. They are distortions, copies, reflections, without source. And yet, they govern the very structure of reality. The Archons control matter, time, sensation, and instinct. They impose the laws of cause and effect, of motion and decay. They assign and they define. They build the systems that trap the soul in distraction, desire, and delusion. Where the Demiurge forged the prison, the Archons maintain it, and they are meticulous. To the Gnostics, evil was not wild or chaotic. Evil was regulated, layered, enforced. That is the horror of the Archons. Not that they're monsters, but that they're administrators. That your pain, your fear, your confusion might not be accidents of the world, but deliberate features of the system. In them, they only need you to obey without knowing why. To understand the Archons, you have to understand their domain. Reality was not seen as open or free. It was structured, layer upon layer, with the physical world at the bottom and the realm of the spirit sealed far above. The soul in its purest form did not belong here. It had fallen, and rising back to the source wasn't a matter of belief or repentance. It was a battle through bureaucracy. The entire cosmos was imagined as a kind of spiritual fortress. The material world was the lowest floor, the furthest from the source. Above it were 7 layers of heaven, each one ruled by a powerful Archon. These 7 rulers were directly linked to the 7 known planets of the ancient world: the Moon, Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Each planet was believed to govern one layer of reality, and each one served as a checkpoint, the closed gate the soul had to pass through after death. This ascent was a journey of the soul, mapped out
30
step by
seconds
step.
of oxygen
When a person
remaining.
died, the soul didn't arise, but at each planetary sphere it was confronted by a gatekeeper, an Archon, who would test it with interrogation. The Archons questioned the soul, demanded it identify itself, its origin, its knowledge, and its right to proceed. If the soul didn't answer correctly, it had forgotten who it was or where it came from, it would be turned away, cast down into the world of matter, reincarnated, bound again to flesh. But there were ways to resist. In some Gnostic schools, initiates were taught secret knowledge to prepare for death. Names of the Archons, passwords, codes, phrases of power. Some texts describe this as spiritual smuggling, slipping past the rulers with forbidden truths. In the first Apocalypse of James, for example, the soul is armed with instructions on what to say when confronted at each gate, survival strategies for escaping the system. Because the Archons weren't punishing the wicked, they weren't offering salvation, and they were maintaining order. They were keeping the structure sealed. And in this structure, ignorance was the mechanism. The Archons didn't torment souls for pleasure. They filtered them like administrators working the file system, sorting, resetting, recycling. Souls who failed to remember were sent back. Souls who knew too much were challenged harder. Escape was rare. Most never made it past the first gate. This wasn't hell. It was worse. It was a system. The sky has always been read as a message. For thousands of years, humanity has looked upwards for signs, fate in the stars, gods in the planets, omens in their motion. But in Gnostic thought, that sky was a message from within the prison. The planets were not guides, they were locks. Saturn stood at the highest gate, the outermost ring of the prison. He ruled limitation, time, death, decay. Cold, slow, and relentless, Saturn was the final enforcer, the last lock between the soul and the divine realm. His weapon was inevitability. Everything that begins must end, and he made sure of it. His influence on the soul was despair, the sense that no matter what you do, nothing will change. Jupiter, beneath Saturn, ruled over authority, law, and hierarchy. On the surface, he offered justice, but through the archonic lens, his justice was control, a system that rewards obedience, punishes deviation, and keeps his souls bound to structure. His influence was the illusion of order, the belief that the system is good because it is well maintained. Mars governed conflict, aggression, blood, and fear. He bound the soul through violence, both external and internal. He inflamed anger, invited war, pushed humans to destroy each other and themselves. Mars didn't just feed off war, he made sure it never ended. The sun should have been a symbol of illumination, but the Archon assigned to it used light to blind. He was the light of distraction, ego, ambition, performance, the belief that power, recognition, success were the highest truths. The soul caught here didn't feel imprisoned, it felt admired. That was the trap. Venus ruled over pleasure, desire, and seduction. Her domain was beauty twisted into attachment. Through her, the soul was bound by longing, physical, emotional, even spiritual. Love itself, weaponized. A craving that could never be fulfilled. Mercury, the messenger, governed communication, knowledge, thought, but not truth. His trap was misdirection. Endless words with no wisdom, endless thoughts with no clarity. He clouded the mind with complexity, contradiction, and noise. The soul that stalled here did not suffer from ignorance, but from confusion. And finally, the moon, the closest gate to the world of flesh. She moved over illusion, instinct, consciousness, the power of
You cannot know for
the
sure what it
cycle of
is, but it is certainly of
birth and
significant
death,
import. I know.
forgetfulness and time.
signal location uploaded to PDA.
I do have gold, but not with me. Let's see. Yeah. We should probably make one of these. Right? Maybe.
Oxygen.
Okay, let's get out of here. Oh, wait, no. That's not good. Oh, that was close. Okay. Oh!
The cosmos, they replace it inside the human psyche. Each one becomes a force within the mind, a fracturing perception, a hint in the dark corners of thought. They live through us. Fear, desire, shame, pride. And these are signatures, symptoms of archonic influence. When a person is consumed by rage, the archon of Mars is active. When they crave validation, it is the sun speaking. When they are paralyzed by self-doubt or nihilism, Saturn has already absorbed. And this is how the prison sustains itself. Because the soul no longer needs to be bound from the inside, it polices itself. It adopts the values of the system, chases success, fears death, it obeys laws it never agreed to, worships gods it never chose, and calls this freedom. The greatest danger was not in sin, but in forgetfulness. A soul that sins still acts. A soul that forgets simply obeys. It moves through life half awake, mistaking programming for purpose. And this is where the Archons thrive, in habit, in repetition, in unconscious thought. They don't manifest as monsters. They speak in your voice. They hide behind your reflection. They are the internal critics, the irrational fears, the compulsions you can't explain. They're every moment you feel broken, but don't know why. The ancient Gnostic teachers understood this long before the language of psychology existed. They described the archons of rulers of fate as psychological parasites, forces that embed themselves in the mind and feed confusion. And the more entangled they become, the more distant the soul grows from its source. It is programming rather than possession. To break free, the soul must begin to observe, to remember, to separate its thoughts from the ones it planted, to question what it's being told is normal. Until that happens, the Archons remain in control. They don't need to be outside the mind.
Go grab some lube.
It turns out only people with childhood trauma can figure this out. The reason is because people with childhood trauma are used to being constantly alert. They pay attention to every detail. They overanalyze and notice the smallest things. That hyper-awareness state gives them the cognitive precision needed to solve this kind of challenge. My husband used to ejaculate prematurely until this. You know you don't have to come all the way to the pharmacy to There's a more of an option.
If the Archons rule through ignorance,
then
their only true enemy is knowledge. Gnosis. Gnosis isn't information, or dogma, ritual, or theology. It can't be memorized or recited.
Oh, word. Okay.
It is remembrance, sudden, irreversible, and internal. A crack in the
I
illusion
do
so
not.
complete that the world never looks the same again.
I
To the
just
Gnostics,
want
the
that
soul
battery
was
back.
not
Recharge
choice.
the
It was
fuck.
trapped, cast into matter, sealed in flesh, and blinded. But within it, buried beneath
Like, bro, where's
emotion,
all my
instinct,
lubricant?
fear, a spark remained, a fragment of the divine. Gnosis was the moment that spark caught fire, the moment the soul recognized that it did not belong or serve.
I know you're not using that power. That's like driving down the.
Gnosis is rebellion. one that tears through the architecture
It's
of the
like
Argon
driving down
body.
the
The soul
side.
remembers
It's not driving
how
down the
to
sidewalk.
manipulate. It stops obeying, it stops fearing, and stops playing by the rules. This is where the figure of Christ appears as an instructor.
Pretty much driving
In
down the
Gnostics,
street.
like the Gospel of Thomas or the Gospel of Judas, Jesus calls for awareness rather than worship. He speaks in riddles to bypass the archons, to plant knowledge in those ready to receive it. In these texts, Judas, rather than a traitor, is one who sets Jesus free. The crucifixion is a jailbreak, a final rejection of the system. Gnosis is the key, but it's not safe. It isolates, it cuts, it forces the soul to confront the possibility that everything it called good was part of the trap, that even its deepest desires were programmed responses to its comfort. But it reveals truth.
Am I missing something? Like,
the Argons can't touch Gnosis. They can block memory, manipulate thoughts, their emotion, but they cannot be raised to grant knowing. Once Gnosis arrives, it cannot be undone. The moment you remember, truly remember, they lose their grip. But Gnosis can't be forced. There's no 10-step guide for dummies, no ritual that guarantees revelation. It doesn't arrive through belief, or study, or obedience. It arrives when everything false collapses, when the soul refuses to obey, and the illusion fractures beyond repair. And yet, it can be prepared for. A mind that questions, a heart that stops chasing comfort, a soul that remembers. These are cracks in the system. The Archons feed on distraction, confusion, obedience. The more you resist, the more unstable the hope becomes. This isn't a path, it's a confrontation, and most people aren't ready for it. We thought we were in control, but we followed rules we never agreed to, fought wars we never started, chased dreams we were told to want. But it was a script, written by things we never saw, things that feed on obedience. They don't need your worship, just your silence, your distraction, your sleep. But if even for a second you remember, the world stops making sense. And that's when it finally starts to make sense. But for the world, there was a silence, an end, a mistake. She acted alone, and from that act came something broken. A blind creator, a prison of light. We've been trapped inside her error ever since. Pleroma. It's a Gnostic concept. It means fullness, something far more alien than perfection or divinity as we usually imagine. A metaphysical realm beyond time, beyond death, beyond even creation itself. A reality made entirely of spirit, no flesh or form, no distance between beings, only being itself, undivided and whole. At the center of the Pleroma is the source, the ultimate origin of all things. But it's not God in any personal sense. It has no name, it doesn't rule, it doesn't create with intent. It simply is, an unchanging, absolute principle. The Gnostics called it the monad, the one, the ineffable beginning, a being so far removed from the world, who know that
Oxygen.
is set to act. From the source, the divine realm unfolds through creation, a cascade. Beings emerge as consequences of pure existence flowing outward. These beings are called aeons, eternal principles, divine minds, emanations of the source's inner nature. Each aeon reflects a specific attribute of the divine: thought, will, grace, truth, life, light. They emerge known as synergies, male and female, active and receptive, always balanced. Each pair reflects harmony of opposites, stabilizing the structure of the Pleroma like pillars holding up the temple of spirit. Together, the aeons form the architecture, a hierarchy of spiritual beings who do anything. It's simply are. There is no chaos in this realm, no decay, no passion, no movement beyond what must unfold. It is a closed circuit of perfection, a stillness so complete that even thought moves like light across glass. But not all aeons are created equal from the source. The further they emanate, the fainter the echo. The outermost aeons dwell near the boundary of the pleroma, closest to the threshold where spirit might collapse into shadow. And it is here we find Sophia. She is wisdom, the raw metaphysical force of understanding. She too was one half of a syzygy, paired with Christos or Theos, depending on the version. Their union reflected the union of mind and spirit. Their role was to contemplate the source and reflect its truth back to the pleroma. But Sophia was not satisfied. A yearning stirred within her. Something
Vital signs stabilizing.
She wanted to understand the source directly, by reaching toward it herself. This was not allowed. There are no commandments in the pleroma, but there is structure, and Sophia broke it through curiosity, longing. She tried to bring forth something from herself, without her pair. She emanated alone, and from that unauthorized act came the first rupture in reality. Something was born that did not belong, something malformed, and perfection was lost. What Sophia enclosed was a new condition of existence. The space surrounding her emanation was unlike anything else that aeons had known. In the pleroma, all was complete, but this was partial, a realm defined by what we lacked. The Gnostics called it Kimona, emptiness, absence, a space where form could exist without source, where movement was no longer tethered to harmony. Time began here. Division began here. The structure Sophia had shielded her creation became the first veil. Subtle, luminous, but unanchored, and something within it began to stir. Inside the Canoma, something opened its eyes for the first time.
Show you
No
the
memory
quantum
had
locker.
formed it. It simply was, aware, alone,
Not yet.
and powerful. This was the Demiurge, Yalda Veil, a being born through isolation, shaped by a process no other aeon had ever known. He saw nothing beyond himself, so believed there was nothing beyond himself. And in that ignorance, he spoke the first false truth. I am God, and there is no other. With that declaration, the veil
Warning, emergency power only. Oxygen production offline.
Creation began. He drew from the faint trace of Sophia, still embedded into his being. He sensed power and used it. He sensed structure and mimicked it. But the result was incomplete, unstable, an order built without context. To hold it together, he generated extensions of himself. These became the Archons, rulers of the realm he was building, each one a distorted echo of the aeons above, bearing function without essence, authority without origin. They governed by design, enforcing boundaries the other veil himself could barely comprehend. Sophia watched from beyond the veil. She couldn't undo what had taken shape, but her essence was now scattered throughout it, threaded into matter, light, breath. The world beyond the veil created all her imprint, even if it did not.
Power restored. All primary systems online.
Untouched. Beneath it,
Heck yeah.
something incomplete. Now,
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Thank you.
Sophia was not cast out, but the world had changed, and she no longer stood where she once did. The veil she had formed to contain her emanation became a boundary. Her presence hovered between two realms.
You know what? I don't know what this is.
Untouched, and the Canova was something new that began to stir. She was no longer home. There was no return.
Use
Her essence had been
bioreactor. Charge
extended
0
into
of
a realm that did not
500.
yet understand what it was.
Deposit organic
That movement
material
was
into
reversible.
energy.
Sophia's light began to scatter. It passed into the unfinished, into matter, into time, into the breath of a world that had been shaped without knowledge, but still bore her trace. The Gnostics believed this light, this divine spark, is within us. Something of her resides in every
I could
living
not
being as a
use the
memory.
lithium or
A
the
memory so
ion
distant it
cube,
feels
but
like
I
longing,
can use the
pulled towards
creature
something we
eggs.
cannot name, and yet somehow we recognize. We don't fear Sophia.
And you can't not take them back either.
The material world doesn't oppose
Like,
her.
once they're in, they're
It
in.
conceals her.
Oh, look.
The structures built by the Bale
It's
and
charging
Archons
more.
offer order without understanding, form without insight. It is a system that convinces you there is nothing outside it. And within that system, the spark sleeps. But there is a way back.
Anyway,
Gnosis, direct
we got a
the
base
recognition that
going,
the world
guys.
is
Isn't that
incomplete,
lit?
that we are
Heck yeah.
incomplete, that the questions we carry are remnants of something
Now
older
then.
than the cosmos itself. To awaken is to see through the world rather than escape. To feel Sophia's presence as revelation. Each awakening is a point of return for us and for her. Her redemption. It unfolds with every fragment that remembers itself, every spark that wakes, every soul that sees clearly for the first time. She is within, and her return begins when we remember what she never forgot. Sophia's story is the framework that's still been inside. A world built by something blind, maintained by systems that reward imitation over understanding. We've learned to call it progress, order, reality. But the Gnostics would call it the same thing the Baoth built. A perfect illusion. The way we were, we consume, we repeat, and the structure holds.
Yeah.
The Archons have changed their faces, but the pattern remains. A world that keeps you too busy to remember, too distracted to ask what's missing, too tired to look at what's being forgotten. And yet, the spark moves. It always does. It stirs in moments of beauty that ache, in grief that feels too deep to name, in questions that never go away. Every time something in us looks beyond what's given, Sophia moves through us. She's never been a goddess to worship. She's part
Seek fluid intake.
that refuses to sleep. Awakening. The story isn't a fall from grace. It's about what we do with the fragments left behind. Whether we keep repeating what the demiurge made or remember what she lost, trying to reach something higher. Maybe the world hasn't changed at all. Maybe we're still trapped in the moment she reached too far. The question isn't whether Sophia will return. It's whether we will.
What?
If there is a sun, there's no warmth.
Oxygen.
The sun that hangs, still, heavy, hollow, like an old sky. It absorbs meaning and hope in those who see it awaken. The ancients feared it, the mystics named it. In the moment you face it, it begins to unravel. Starting with you. The black sun is a paradox, a sun that gives no light, a source of energy that brings no life. Across centuries, it has appeared in visions, in manuscripts, in myth, a dark sphere, hovering where brilliance should be. It's been called a symbol of death, of hidden knowledge, of rebirth through ruin, but no single definition holds it. The black sun